All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, we're just going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about a John Wall to the Los Angeles Lakers possible scenario. Now, this is going to be under the hypothetical that John Wall gets bought out by the Houston Rockets and that the Lakers were to have some cap to sign John Wall. So, John Wall played in 40 games for the Houston Rockets this season. Now, it was his first time playing in the NBA in over 2 years since he got injured. He tore his Achilles, man, and he had a couple of injuries that really derailed him, and it sucked because he was only 28 years old when this all happened, and he was having a pretty solid year before he went down with injury, going about 20.7 and 8.5 steals, or 8.5 assists. Could you imagine that? On the season, though, in 40 games played for Houston, he averaged 32 minutes per game and put up some decent-looking numbers. 20.6 points per game, 6.9 assists per game, about a steal per game, getting kind of close to about a block per game. And he shot the ball about 46% from two, and then he shot about 32% from three. So that's kind of always been John Wall's thorn, has been his three-point shooting. He's only a career 32% three-point shooter. But what John Wall brought to the Houston Rockets was just that tenacity, that playmaking. Now, the first couple of games, the first 14 or so games, he actually played with James Harden, and they looked okay together. It was a little different because you have James Harden, who has got a high usage rate, and he just needs the ball in his hand. And with John Wall, it was a little weird. They would just kind of switch off in ISOs. But on the Los Angeles Lakers, you have a whole different team, a whole different system, and just a different dynamic, different skill sets, different personnel. Everything is different in Los Angeles. You're playing with LeBron James. You're playing with Anthony Davis. And that is really all John Wall needs. I mean, he has never had two stars before. He had Bradley Beal, but it was a relatively young, relatively inefficient Bradley Beal. Nothing like the 30 points per game scorer we're seeing right now. However, John Wall, beyond the stat line is what you really get from him. It's just that never quit, that dog mentality. He has an impact when he steps on the court, whether you want it or not. I know a lot of Houston Rocket fans, he can try to do a little too much. However, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's been on an injured Houston Rockets team. A lot of those 40 games were without Christian Wood. I mean, Christian Wood missed 17 or 18 games in the middle of the season. So John Wall, he just needs to get healthy. He didn't play in back-to-backs this season because of his injury. So I think next season you're really going to see an improvement in John Wall like there's no tomorrow. I think he's only 30 years old. On his career, he's 19 points per game, 9 assists. Now, one thing I would like to see John Wall a little bit more is get other players involved. Now, like I said, he was on a pretty bad Houston Rockets team, so maybe that assist number would go up on a team like the Los Angeles Lakers. John Wall also is a great defender, or he's at least gives a 100% effort every single time, but he's an absolute dog on defense, and he can lock you up. So John Wall to the Lakers, it would be almost too good to be true. I know he is turning 30, about to be 31, or he is 30, turning 31. So I know he's getting up there in age, and he would be a little pricey, but a lot of it just depends on what the price would be to get him out of Houston. And until we see that, it's kind of hard to go over Laker financial hypotheticals because we don't really know what's going on with John Wall and the Houston Rockets. That situation doesn't seem to be depleted, but long-term, John Wall on the Houston Rockets maybe might not be the best fit, not really the direction they're going to be going in. They'll have a top 4 pick this year in the draft, hopefully for him, and they might go with Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, and if you get another guard after getting KPJ, it kind of complicates everything. So I fully expect John Wall to be on the move. There was a report from Rockets Wire a couple of days ago that was saying John Wall trade or buyout it's not if. It's not when, it's if. Or it's not if, it's when. So it's definitely going to happen according to that source, but we'll see what happens, man.